I'm so glad to see so many of you could make it today. I just have a little bit of a write-up to read before we start. So here goes. Welcome everyone to our virtual tour and YSS check-in. This event is made possible by our Youth Services section of the Wisconsin Library Association. Today we will be talking to Jennifer Wharton from the Matheson Memorial Library in Elkhorn and Christy Hauer from the Shawano Public Library in Shawnee. We'll take library tours, discuss programming, and discover ways our colleagues are dealing with the pandemic. If you are interested in hosting a virtual tour of your library, just let me know. Before we start, I'd like to read our YSS mission statement to you. YSS advocates for professional empowerment, collaboration, and innovative, inclusive, and intentional service. YSS provides a forum and resource for people in Wisconsin's libraries who share a commitment to serving children and young adults, their parents, caregivers, and teachers. It is a vital, dynamic group and welcomes new members. Just check the box on your WLA renewal or membership application and you're all set. As we go through these presentations, please feel free to type your question in the chat box on the right of your screen. They will be answered throughout the presentations. Thank you so much for joining us. And with that, here's Jennifer from the Matheson Memorial Library.
I'm supposed to be talking.
Hi, Jennifer.
So, I'm the Youth Services Librarian at the Elkhorn Library, Matheson Memorial Public Library. I'm joined by my associate, Jessica. She normally does teens, but now she does everything else. And we are in the oldest part of our library. It's over 100 years old. It's over 120 years old. We're all getting older.
Yes.
And this is the part of the original library, the Mary Bray room. Mary Bray was the first librarian. And you can see the fancy crown molding. It is now our genealogy library, and it is closed to the public for the duration because most of our genealogy people are elderly. We do also use it for meetings, and it was open, it was one of the last rooms to be closed to the public. We were having meetings in here up until after Thanksgiving. It's more ventilated than our other meeting rooms, i.e. drafty. This is the original entrance to the library. This guy is somebody famous in Elkhorn that everybody forgot who he was, although he was extremely well beloved, and we used his picture in like haunted house stuff until our adult services librarian found out he was actually like a beloved community member. We don't do that anymore. This, moving out, our director's office. We've got another office, two small study rooms there. The study rooms are holding all the furniture we've taken down. We started reopening to the public last June, and we're completely open in October. But we have taken out all of our seating. This is also part of the original building. For a short time, the teens were in here. That was a really bad idea. Now we're moving into the first addition to the building. Oh yeah, that's the basement there. You go down 2 flights of stairs, and that was the original children's room. It's really gross. We're not going down there. We have too many floods. At one point, we had a service desk here. It was never staffed. We never had enough staff. It was also extremely uncomfortable. A year or two ago, we took it apart with hammers, and now it's local history. This is our adult nonfiction. Again, we have taken all the seating out. That was something we did around last Thanksgiving. People were hanging out. This last in meeting room was one of the first spots that we closed during the pandemic. It's pretty new. We only built it 2 years ago, maybe. And it has no ventilation whatsoever, which you can tell because this is where all the middle schoolers play D&D. And you put 5 or 10 middle schoolers in here for an hour, and you can cut the front with a knife. We also did maker workshops in here. So yeah, no ventilation whatsoever, so that's also closed. All right. Our adult nonfiction is most of this floor, in addition to the audiobook room, local history. Our main computer lab, we've taken down some of the computers so we can distance. This was the second entrance, which you can see this was like a little lobby area with bathrooms. Because this was the second entrance to the library, that's why we have a brick wall inside our library. Because after the second edition was put on, this was the outside. Yes, kids run down here all the time. We only had a couple minor incidents with skinned hands. No major bloody events. So we're down on the main floor now. This is the newest part of the library that was built in 2003. This is our coffee station. That's Linda.
Oh, I'm sorry, am I walking in front of?
No, we're doing a virtual tour.
Oh.
You just got put on camera.
Oh, good, I hope it was a head up. What was my
Our most
splendor
faithful,
part?
long-time volunteer. She takes care of plants in the library. She's the main person. We're going to go completely mobile because we're going to go out into our lobby, and the noise of the carts on the tile floor out here is horrific. We have restrooms. We have wishing well. Kids love putting pennies in it. We have a piano. You can borrow the key and play it, depending on who's on the desk. Some of us are pickier than others. We have a beautiful echoing lobby. It's insanely loud. I don't know whose idea this was. This open rounded area was originally intended to be a coffee shop. That never happened. So now we put things there like tax forms, free magazines, what have you. Our main entrance here, I'm not sure you can see it, but right outside through those windows by the piano, there we have like a little card table. That's where we put our curbside. We are still doing curbside. People just have to request it. This extra table here is where I send out all our materials to schools. School band comes by every Tuesday, and I send out hundreds of books every month for them. So our community room here normally could be booked for community meetings, used for library programs, parties. It is now closed. Rotary is still using it for their virtual meetings with a couple people in here, sometimes for other stuff. This is half the room. So the double doors you see there where you store the tables. The other half of the room, and we do have a sound system in there. The other half of the room, what's behind my computer? We don't normally, in normal times, divide the rooms because it is really hard to get the divider up and down. But that door there leads into a kitchen, and this is where we have all our quarantines. We don't have a lot in quarantine right now, just because of the time of the week it is, and because we've done all our delivery. But normally, at least half those tables are full. Our kitchen, the kitchen in the community room, I'm not going to take you in there right now, but we actually right now are partnering with a local group called Seeds of Hope. They provide services to adults with disabilities, and they are refitting the kitchen to be a professional kitchen, and they're going to use it several times a week. And as part of the connection with the coffee shop in a neighboring town, and do their baking stuff there. So we're kind of excited to get that going. Here's our main self-checkout. Our holds, we do the little yellow sticky things. This is The newest part of the library is our combined circulation and information desk. We put this up. When did we put this up, Chad? Last year?
Put what up?
The desk.
It was actually a couple of years.
Couple years? I don't know. Time flies. This is Chad, our adult services librarian.
Hello.
This part of the desk is the information part. It goes up and down, which is really fun to freak kids out. This part is the circulation part. We have a limited amount, it's kind of hard to see, but we have a limited amount of plastic shields around it. So in some places we put stuff up to try to keep people back. These tables were all study tables. We repurposed them as display because people are supposed to be sitting there.
I checked out the ones they had on hold, and I thought they're looking for new ones.
This is a hunk of an old circulation desk.
How you doing, James?
I think right now it's a display, but eventually it's going to be our new Spanish collection. We have a year-round book sale here. And this part over here, which is closed off right now, where we're storing furniture, would normally be where we have our magazine and newspaper reading. And we used to have coffee. All right, so I'm going past the large print. We do a lot of displays. Adult movie section. We still have a barrier up there just to keep people from crowding. This is our combined circulation and services workroom. This staff is trying to hide. We reopened our book drops. We've got one in the lobby that people can dump stuff into, and then they can also use one in here. Check-in station. We do have security cameras. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. This is our head of circulations desk area. Staff use that. This is the youth services portion. This is kind of a general work area. One of our associates is shared between youth services and adult, and she kind of works over here. But we also have our Cricut and all our other tools here. As I said, I process books for the schools. That's what most of those pile of books are there. Except for all those sealed boxes. You can kind of see them back there. Those are all duplicate DVDs. I didn't want to weed them, but our shelves are too full. This is my desk area. So to explain, this was my desk, and you can see it's nice and big. I put Jess over here because this is the old desk, and I kept whacking my knee on it. Now she can whack her knee on it. And it's also kind of a storage area. We have all our D&D and maker stuff, maker kits. And I took this area over here. It's got a little window slit because I'm the boss. And also because the window brings in like cold drafts and I'm always hot. Jess keeps asking for a heater, but she's not getting it. I gave her a scarf. And I've got stuff there. This cabinet is where I have 2 teen aides. That's where we store their stuff, which is, who locked the cabinet?
Shouldn't be locked.
No, it shouldn't. Yeah, anyways, this is where the teen aides store their stuff, which is primarily cleaning stuff, candy, and durable food. It's a long story. We used to have a massive life-size candy laying program, and we ended up with a lot of candy left. These file cabinets here are shared between Jess and the non-member of our staff who is a heavy contributor, Miss Patty. She actually works for the local school district, but she has traditionally always done most of our story times, a lot of our early childhood stuff, play groups. So right now she's not doing any programs, any physical programs with us. We're not doing any in-person programs, but she does weekly recordings. She brings us 40 storytime kits every week to give out. And hopefully she'll be back with us soon. She's mostly teaching over at our virtual charter school right now with the preschool kids in the 4K. Ha, you have not escaped, Gail. The camera has caught you. Gail's our head of circulation. She's packing up more books for me because they're going off to one of our schools. All right. On all this stuff there, one of our circulation staff, who is the associate in the circulation staff, does a lot of amazing displays. So pretty much any awesome displays you see are her work. Okay, so we're coming out. We're going to sneak around the movies here. This was kind of a fail. It's a leftover cupboard from our staff break room. I really wanted to have a community cupboard in our family bathroom back in the children's area that would have hygiene supplies and stuff. But the city guys said it was too heavy to put up, and I couldn't get another one. So it ended up being sitting behind the movies, which is not really useful. But anyways, so welcome to the children's area. We'll come back to this in a minute. But this is our youth services desk. Normally the shelving carts would be in the back in the workroom, but we have put them around us to protect us. We've got one, kind of hard to see, but we've got one plexiglass shield in front and then a long one on the side, except when the city takes our front shields to use in elections, and then we lend it up to the front. We're gonna just run down here real quick. This is the end of the adult fiction. And up there is graphic novels, some adult maker kits and yard games, a rapid reads collection, and the adult Spanish because it was on my shelf and I wanted it out of the way, so I shoved it there. We used to have 2 teen computers here, but the teens are sick of virtual and they're not even using the computers. So we took it out and just made it a display. We do have some public computers down there. And it's a little hard to see, but way down by the tree is a magnifying machine. Nobody, as far as I know, has ever used that except me with preschool tours, because the kids like to stick their hands under it. This is our YA fiction. This is the lines on the carpet because the teenagers insist on sitting on the floor in front of the door. I keep our extra copies and our classics here because they don't get used as much. This is our tech services workroom. Part of it is where our friends sort books for the bookstore and book sale. This is the door to our outdoor book drop. We have one that's a drive-by book drop, or a hit and run book drop, somebody hit. And one that you have to walk up a series of icy steps to get to, so it's not used as much. Lindsay's our head of tech services. She's back here cataloging. More donations. This is where Lisa Lou, our processor, works. Not here right now. She's skived off. That computer is used, the friends use it to do accounts and stuff. It's also used for, the testing thing. What is he?
Proctoring.
Proctoring, thank you. I've been talking a lot, yeah. Lindsay's not just our cataloger. She also does, she also works the front desk. She orders parts of the collection. She does proctoring. She does interlibrary loan. She has money. Anything that somebody's like, oh yeah, Lindsay's back there, have her do it. And then we have a few more machines back here. Our heavy duty laminator, which only a few people are brave enough to use. And our disc cleaning machine. And gerbil shavings. We don't use the gerbil. Are you going to keep using that? Because we're going to go out that door. So this is our staff entrance. Our staff break room was remodeled last year. Staff lockers. We have our own bathroom. This is a big deal. I plunged in my toilet snow. So when we come out this door, you're now at the back of the children's area. Our water fountains, like all of our chairs, are taken out. This is our family restroom. It's used primarily by families and also by our teens. This is the one where I wanted to have a community cupboard, but I had to settle for the changing table. This is our teensy tiny cleaning closet. We do have a cleaning service that comes in. This was all of a bunch of our furniture and stuff in the toy area, which we covered with fabric because people keep sitting on it. I have just finished shifting all of our nonfiction. So it's in order, but the shelf signs don't match. Up on top, these ones that say staff use only are extra make and take kits. We give out the 40 Storytime kits that Miss Patty brings us every week, and then an additional take-home kit. Before the pandemic, I did this in the summer, so we already did a lot. That's just where I keep extras. Over up on this side, these are a library on the go books. I run a kind of a bookmobile out of the trunk of my car. It's only slightly creepy. They're all easy readers and beginning chapter books. And kids don't need a library card to check them out. We check them out in an outreach card. But we get about 60% back maybe, depending on whether I've checked them out at an outreach event or whether I sent them to a school. Kind of depends. And then we have a caregivers collection that's like parenting stuff and our holiday stuff back here. I recently moved all of our audio over here and dumped the CDs in these bins because nobody ever checks them out. We still have people using audiobook CDs. Now that I finished shifting the nonfiction, we are shifting the juvenile fiction. Our graphic novels are intershelved with our fiction. You can see they have the red stickers on them. This is our sad, empty teen area. We kept our rules up, but no teens. This is where we do all of our virtual story times and recordings. We're also in the process of shifting this area as well. Has random shelves in there. Manga collection. Teens have their own take-home class. We're doing spring art. This is Miss Jessica's puppy patches. Our anime collection, graphic novels, teen nonfiction. That's the graphic novels, which we started moving, and my age is going to have to move those shelves. And I knew that that's going to be changed soon. We're doing a winter reading program. Every week a different nonfiction theme. This week is domestic animals and pets. All of our new juvenile materials are on this shelf. These are our library pets. We have 2 gerbils. We used to have hamsters, but my aides who cleaned the cage complained that they were too bitey. These guys came to join us. See, no bitey. Come on out, come on out. In December. This is Coco and Nibbles, as named by one of our 5th graders. She did a much better job than the middle schoolers who wanted to call a hamster meatball. This is, all right, hook on. This is some of our Reader's Advisory bookmarks. We have an extensive Reader's Advisory list on Pinterest, and then also bookmarks here. Our 1,000 books for kindergarten and 500 books for middle school. They're kind of on hiatus right now, but they're still available if people want them. This is the beginning of the juvenile fiction. It's our favorites. So it's stuff like Disney, superheroes, Star Wars. Our early readers are here. We have a leveling system. I'll get a good picture on the other side. We do have nonfiction. We keep all those little paperback books like Bob books in bags. This up on top is a really cool display from Wraparound at one of our neighboring schools. I provide them with books and sometimes other things, like our collection of hot glue guns. This one is very exciting because this is a scale model sort of the library. And then they did pyramids and Lambeau Field and stuff. These are our beginning chapters. They're all in tubs for Candy, Peace, and Crew, and then some of the bigger series like Pirate Squirrel, Who Was, are up on top. These are our circulating toys and maker kits. We put curtains over them, which Jess made, because my families are very used to taking them out and playing with them, and we didn't want them to do that now. So we have story time kits. We have circulating toys. They usually have a toy and a book in them. Most of the stuff with puppets has been put away into the basement for the cleaning issues. More on this side. And then over on this side are maker kits. And we used to have STEAM labs, which were things like Legos or magnet tiles. And then for the teens, they had perler beads and beading kits. All those they could come in the library and use. We turned them all into maker kits so they can be checked out instead now. So you can see here's our rainbow loom, cardboard make-a-do, sewing kit. We have a sewing machine that we circulate. That is a story time kit, and when I find out who put it on the wrong side of the shelf, they're going to be in trouble. We talked about that. These are supposed to be maker kits. This is an adult maker kit. It's a cake pan. This is a toy bag. It is not a maker kit. Here is a maker kit, a bird watching kit. That's a little bit of a... Oh, all those books you see on top of the juvenile fiction shelves are storage, additional copies. Part of the thing that we're shifting right now is to get them back onto the shelf. I had those up there when we would have our circulation would go completely nuts in the summer, and I needed all those extra copies. We still have some magazines here. This, I'm looking at the back end of our picture book area. We have our picture books organized by neighborhoods. These are extra story time kits. And here's our board book. And then the tubs down below, our tub book collection. Those are 8x8 media tie-ins like Paw Patrol and stuff. And then we just made a display there. This was our play area. You can see our Chicka Chicka Boom Boom trees still in the corner. Our sad train table. We did have armchairs here. We had a whole market stall that was set up to block that there. We took everything out. It's either stored in the basement or in the mound of furniture, just because our people can't gather, and if given the opportunity, they will gather. Oh yeah, they'll gather. Our neighborhoods have little bookmarks at the end that tell you what's in each one. Our sections are animals, community, which includes community helpers, school, and history. Fun, which is crafts, STEM. There were a lot of people arguing with me when I put math into the fun section, but I didn't listen to them. Things that go, nature, which includes weather, plants, ourselves, which has family, feelings, and tales, which is all our fairy tales and our Bible stories. I thought some people might complain about me putting the Bible stories in there, but they didn't. That was good. And then this is just favorite authors like Eric Carle and Nancy and stuff.
We had a question
Yes.
about the mural, and how did you find your artist?
Oh, so we'll work our way back over there. This is, we used to have our Blu-ray here. We intershelved it. The nonfiction movies are on the bottom, and I stuck my juvenile Spanish there. That might be temporary. Movies, video games are on the top. This was our 1,000 Books for Kindergarten bulletin board. Now it's our winter reading, and will probably be our summer reading as well. Giant corridor. Toddler had hysterics. She was scared of polar bear. So the mural here was drawn by a local artist many years before I came here. This outside part isn't too bad. The inside part was a major pain. we're gonna go back here. This is our story room. This is where we would normally have all of our story times and our smaller programs. Not now, obviously. So previously, the walls were decorated with pictures. A sample of the skill of the artist can be seen here, not the bird, and that thing that looks like a 10-year-old drew it. I'm not a fan. Over the past few years, I've slowly started covering over the pictures because they had to go. Plus, I think they were just made with maybe acrylic paint or something. You couldn't clean them. They peeled off whenever you tried. So Jessica is actually we had some volunteers. We had some volunteers come in, a bunch of high school girls that painted over a lot of stuff and primed it. And then Jessica has been slowly adding things. So we've got all this nice brickwork. We've got our little vines and flowers there. This door, by the way, leads outside. You can't really open it because of the snow, but that's the library garden covered by snow. And Jess is putting up pictures. She also did this wall. And I could tell you a whole story about how dangerously she behaved when putting in the new banners, but she's still alive, so let it go. This is the next one. This is going to have, I think we're thinking a fall tree maybe.
Mm-hmm.
We also do recording in here. So right now, we're using this room for to pack all of our take-home materials on these tables here. There's a bunch of supplies. This one we're getting ready for a big virtual Mo Willem celebration that's coming up. These are all the bags that will be filled. There's Knuffle Bunny. Jess did a pretty good job, even though she didn't know who Knuffle Bunny was. And then on these tables here in the middle, we use to quarantine and clean our circulating toys and maker kits. I want to show them the storage closet. I think we'll have to pick up for that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very dangerous ladder that Jess climbs up on top of when I'm not watching her. We have a few storage cupboards here. These lock, so I normally keep stuff like paint in them. This is a magnetic chalkboard. The magnet doesn't work quite so well. It needs to be repainted again. And I had a local person who was going to get us some volunteers with community service who had been, as she put it, very, very naughty because the fumes are horrific. This is our storage room. In the storage room, it's kind of hard to see, but this actually opens up to work as a puppet theater if you're about 2 feet tall. So it's a kids' puppet theater, yay! Yeah, well, they decided that the storage room that doubles as a puppet theater would be a really, really good place to put all the lighting, and you can't really see it, but ladder that accesses the roof. Kids love climbing on the roofs. So I've actually started a new thing before the pandemic, which kind of killed it, but called Open Story Room, and you can see I've blocked off sections there. We used to have it so whenever we weren't having a program in here, this room was just open. People could come in and take down, a lot of We Play toys, a lot of simple craft materials. This was some of Miss Patty's play stuff. And they could just play in the story room. People loved it. It was great. But no more. So, yeah, I think I actually managed. Ooh. Oh, another clock's dead. What time is it, Jess? I forgot what that.
3:06.
Ooh, I only went 6 minutes over. So yeah. So that's our library. And does anybody have any questions or anything you would like to see again?
I just had a question about your kits You said you had 40 kids that go out per week plus one for the story time kids. Is that correct?
We have our kids that go out every week. Actually, we kind of missed that part. There, the patron standing there. Our kids that go out each week, we have 40 storytime ones that match into whatever recorded storytime Miss Patty's done that week, and she supplies those. And then we have additional kits for all ages for the family that we make. So this week we had 40 cat masks that went on Monday, and then I had 30 DIY magnets, which we still have some left, and then we just have some little paper take homes here, and all of those, the current things in use, we keep behind my information desk, so you can see here.
So it looks like your kits go out pretty well.
Oh yeah. Miss Patty's already given us kits for the next 2 weeks. This is a take home people can get for doing our outdoor story walk. This is remnants of our virtual book club take home kits. These are extras, which you can see there are no longer any extras. Yeah.
And I just had one more question about that piano. How often does it get played?
Now, very little.
Oh.
Yeah, normally, we've had some people, we usually have a big Santa reception here, and it would be played for that. We had some, in the picture. We have some piano teachers that would have their recitals here. We move everything around in the foyer for them. And then we would have several people that would just come and play. We had an autistic girl that liked to come in and play a lot, some adults. And then we would have the middle schoolers that would come bang on it after school sometimes. I didn't let them do that because I'm picky. I want to hear music, not practicing.
Mm-hmm.
But we keep it tuned, so usually now and then, and we have concerts and stuff out there.
Well, thank you so much. That was a very nice tour. Looks like you have a large library.
Yes, we are physically the largest library in our county. Most of our county libraries are closed to the public or open only by appointment. We are open mainly because we have the space to safely do that.
And how many people are allowed in your library at one time right now?
We don't have any limits. I don't think we've had more than maybe 15 people in here at once. People have generally been okay with that. We have had issues with people not wearing masks, but they mostly put them on when they're told to. Of course, by that point, it's like too late. But we thought about doing limits, but we didn't really feel like we needed them.
Well, thank you so much for the tour, Jennifer. That was great. Does anybody else have any questions for her? Okay, well, then we will move on. Christy from the Shawano Public Library has a great tour planned for us too.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for inviting me today. This is very exciting and kind of a neat way to connect with other librarians across the state. I've been at the Shawano Library for just about 12, 13 years, somewhere in there. And we used to be, back in the old days, about 3 or 4 years ago, our county had 6 municipal libraries. And in 2018, we combined all 6 of those locations into a county-wide library. So we've had some structural changes and adjustments. I work out of, and right today I'm at our main library, which is by far our biggest library, as well as some functions that we do, especially with collection development and technical services and cataloging, all happens out of our main location here, even for those items that are at the branches. So I'm going to give a little tour. We do have a 2-level building. I will start in our lower level. That's where our children's department is. So if I ever sound like I'm just a little huffing and puffing and out of breath, I'm only on the stairs. So don't worry about me. I will make my way around and do ask, share any questions. I love that. it helps me to fine tune what I can show you. So I was just sitting in one of our meeting rooms right now. This hallway is where most of our public enters the library and travels down the hallway to the children's department. On our lower level, we have 3 meeting rooms that are available to sleep. In our library, similar to others right now, where a lot of moved at this point in time. Yes.
Christy, we're kind of losing you a little bit. I missed everything after you said this is the lower level.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can do something about that. Give me a moment. I'm going to try to switch over to a hotspot here instead of our wireless and see if.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, let me see if that will work a little bit better. Okay, can you guys see me and hear me at this point?
Yes.
Okay, we will try this. We do have really bad reception. We are a huge brick building. So the lower level is a little bit harder to get that reception in sometimes. I did want to focus on this area. I'm going to take it from a different angle. Our children's staff put this area together in the last couple of years through a donation. And it is kind of a cultural exhibit that the staff change out every so often. So there's a lot of a new culture that gets focused on every few months, and we highlight books and other resources that patrons can check out from that area too. Our library being 2 levels, we have actually 4 entrances into our building. It makes it quite difficult to control traffic flow. So we do have 2 circulation desks, one in the lower level, one in the upper level, that handles circulation and returns and patron transactions. Otherwise, everybody can walk out without checking out anything at all. Our children's area has some computers for patrons to use. Our children's area is set up going from our youngest readers transitioning to our older readers. So this side of our children's area is picture books, board books, audio books, smaller picture books for our younger readers, and also we have our new items very prominently in the area where people can first walk in to the children's room. And we have animals too. We have fish. They're not furry and they don't snap at us though, but we have our fish that the kids like to come and visit. A number of years ago, we had a lot of requests from our parents, especially about books pulled out in action. A lavender collection used to be in more with our picture books, and this area is here, and that was a great suggestion by our public that we were able to respond to, and it gets a lot of use. We have a parenting collection in our children's area, graphic novel collection in our children's area, and we also have a Native American collection, both in children's materials and adult materials. Because in our local area, we have 3 different tribal lands that overlap our county. So it's quite prevalent in our area. Most of these other stacks in our children's department here are going to be nonfiction materials. Here is our holiday books. We do have those segmented out all year long because they get used quite a bit.
Christy,
and yes,
we just had a question here.
Oh, yes, I'm ready.
What did the public request that you responded to? You just cut out a little at that point.
Sure. Easy readers. So we had a lot of pulled out of the collection and more easy to browse through. I am heading upstairs right now, and my reception should get better as well. Okay, we have lots of stairs in our building, so all the staff get their exercise all day long. Yeah.
Do you have an elevator there too if needed?
We do have the elevator if we need that. Our primary entrance, which I just came through, leads into our large print collection. So this is a collection that gets a lot of use by our patron base. We have a lot of senior population in our area, so that is a collection that we have developed a lot of, and it's pretty large for us. Over here, this looks a little bit like a rummage sale, but it's not. It's our Library of Things collection. So we check out a lot of items to patrons. We have instruments. When the schools went virtual last year, we worked with our homeschool group to see what kind of items they would like to check out from the library, and we added some things to this collection. We have media type things, projectors, the cotton candy machine, which is one of our most popular items, cookie cutters, cake pans. Our friends of the library primarily fund this for us, and it's kind of been a real highlight to our community that people can try new things before they buy it, or borrow things that you only use now and again, like a specialty cake pan. Here's our luggage. The luggage used to travel a lot, but not so much in the last year. And this piece, we thought that's been to Mexico and Cozumel and Scotland and a few other places. The area back and through here, I'm not getting you ladies, is our returns area where we check in everything. We prep our carts for sorting and shelving, and we don't have much quarantine going on today.
Christy, I have a
Yes.
question about that. Some of those machines that you showed us in that other room, do you
Yep.
have to sanitize those when they come back in?
We do let them sit for a quarantine period, and we do encourage patrons to go ahead and clean things out to their comfort level. And then we also make sure they're clean when they're coming back in from the patron as well. There's a small cleaning fee on that. We haven't had much questions or concerns about that, and for a while we did not have those items available because we have, as staff, had concerns about that. But usually we let the stuff ends up sitting long enough before it goes out to the next person.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This room here is our Native American collection for adults. Like I mentioned, we have a number of tribal reservations in our area. So this isn't a collection we try to keep up on and bring current material into it. This is our Christmas collection that we have available and set out all year long, just because it actually gets used. Walking into the main area of our library, this is our hold shelf pickup area. We have placed that nearby our self-check machine so that our patrons can help themselves and do some of that functionality.
I'm sorry, Christy, there's another question here too. The question is, do you have an ongoing budget to maintain it? And I'm thinking that question is for that past room that the friends were working with.
Probably the Library of Things items, maybe how we maintain that.
Mm-hmm.
Our friends of the library fund a bit of money each year to add new items to that collection. We have also had a lot of great donations from our community members that have seen that collection, and they've thought about things they have at home that they feel like they don't need or use as much as they once thought they did, so they donated those to the library. So the operating budget of the library we have barely ever bought anything out of our operating budget, and it's a lot comes through donations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Here is our teen fiction collection. This used to be super duper small, and we've expanded it a lot over recent years. There's so much great literature coming out for this age. We also have a lot of graphic novels. And we have a few specialty collections too. We have some rapid reads, which are, you know, a little bit easier to read book for our teens, but the content is more at their level rather than an easier level. And most of our taller stacks, let me see if I can get this in through here. This is our adult fiction and nonfiction collections. We have a couple of genre collections, inspirational being one of them, mystery, Western, and science fiction. Those are all really requested a lot. We've created them because patrons asked to make it easier to browse those areas. So we did that for them. One time we thought,
Christy, we are losing you again.
and that was,
Christy, one time you thought what?
okay, is this better?
I can hear you now.
And see me now?
Oh, now you broke up a little bit again.
Hello, I'm back. Can you hear me and see me?
Thank you, yes.
Yay, yay, okay. I just had to walk fast. Okay, we have public computers that are available. We've been working on this area to spread them out, make them a little bit more space for our patrons to sit there. Here's something new that we started just last year, and sometimes patrons think we started because of the pandemic, but we didn't. It just kind of lined up that way. This is a binge box, and there is 6 to 8 movies all in that box that have a common theme, and the whole box checks out all at one time for the patrons. So kind of the idea that they can have a common theme and just watch to their heart's content. This is our new materials area for our adult materials. We keep items on new status for about 6 months. So this is fiction, nonfiction, audiobooks, and paperback books. And right here, here's our backdrop for our virtual cooking show that we're doing every other week right now. We have some very talented staff. And this part of our library is generally much busier, much more seating in here. It's more our main lounge space and where Wi-Fi users use their devices. We have a lot of those chairs kind of removed right now, kind of limiting how many people can be in one space at a time. And our DVD and audiobook collections are in these 2 rows. So that is the bulk of what our library is. I don't know if there were any other questions that came up. I'm going to make my way back to a meeting room because there were a few other things that I wanted to share with everybody. I've been working on in recent weeks is the ability to do in-person programs with using a FM transmitter headset. Okay, so let me get you guys this. This is, it's so not fancy, and the staff can wear this like a headset and program right here with a little dial to an FM radio station, and patrons can sit in their vehicles and hear library staff through the radio in their vehicle. And this is really cool. We've done a number of programs. We've done, one of our branches has done a couple of story times with this, and also done a book bingo while patrons sat in their cars. And last fall, we had a couple of staff that worked on making a The Amazing Race for Libraries kind of thing, where patrons moved around our main city here in Shawano. There were 6 stops throughout the city that they had to collect clues at in order to get there. And a staff member was at each one of those stops wearing this headset and was feeding them more instructions to try to find their way to the next stop. And one of the stops was just like about a block from my house, just because it's a very common park. And there was like a traffic jam, which was so exciting to see when all of these cars started coming by to do that program. We just started circulating hotspots in the last week. We've picked some of those up through a grant. Chromebooks we started circulating a couple of years ago, so not really because of the pandemic, but much more use of them in the last year. Our children's staff kind of just puts book bundles together. They're ready to go. When patrons call and request items, we're doing a lot of curbside pickup right now. We already have kind of a stack of similar materials ready to go. You all know how it is when you're working with kids. You can go through 12 books a day very easily. So a lot of our patrons that are doing a lot of curbside pickup with kids just go through huge volumes of material. And sometimes, you know, they kind of indicate to us that they feel so bad, which is kind of a weird phrasing, but they feel so bad that, you know, we put so many materials together for them, and we're like, don't worry about it. We love it. And one last thing that I wanted to share with all of you is just a couple pictures up here of partnerships that we've been doing, even though we closed. I'm a huge supporter of outreach in public libraries, outreach and partnerships. And if your library isn't doing any type of outreach after we come out of this pandemic a little bit more, do give it some thought. Many of our libraries have been in the same location for so long, and there are still people in our communities that are not familiar that the library is there, have a very outdated view of libraries, or think that the library isn't for them. It's for other people. I don't know who those other people are, but you know, these are the ideas. So if you can get out into your community and meet those people where you're at and be that first introduction of somewhere where they already go in their life, so it's not an extra trip for them, but if you can catch them there, you can draw them back into your library. The staff here in Shawano County, we put a goal on ourselves to do 100 outreach activities a year. And that's a lot, that's a couple a week. And obviously last year was the first year we didn't make it, obviously, but you know, no biggie, it was a one-off. But outreach doesn't have to be a big deal either. You know, it can be something very simple. It can be going out and meeting, you know, with a mother's group or your village hall, you know, board, and just giving a quick update. And other things can be really super involved and take more staff time. One of the things that we did during the pandemic is we went into our Humane Society and we did a virtual story time with the pets at the Humane Society, so that we also were highlighting what pets were available there to be adopted. And a TV station out of Wausau picked that up and did a little bit of coverage on that for us. At Christmas time, for years and years, we've always been involved in our tree lighting ceremony, and there's like decorate cookies and visit Mrs. Claus, and, you know, all this stuff. And a lot of those activities were not done in the same way this year. But we put together these book bins right here, and we put a bunch of books in them. There were 5 different age groups, and I'm talking teens and adults as well. And we went through 800 books in about 2 weeks, and it didn't involve staff being there. So the staff had, you know, a level of separation from being in and around in a crowd, but we were able to meet that need in the community. Now, this is my backup picture. I tried to show you this in real life, but that's where I lost my connection totally. This is our delivery van. Our delivery van has just saved us in the last year, I think. People that are quarantining, people that are concerned about being out in the community, people that don't want to travel around and be in public. We take materials with this van. We go out to individuals, organizations, schools once a month, deliver materials to them, and go back around the next month, collect those materials, and bring a new batch. And our delivery service has been really busy this year for obvious reasons, and it's really helped as well to allow people to not have a long-term commitment for the delivery service. You know, we can say, hey, if you got to quarantine for a few weeks, that's fine. We can bring stuff to you once and that's it, or recovering from surgery, or any average year, we have a lot of our patron base that don't drive at night, don't drive in winter because a little bit elderly, and a lot of those folks, we move on to our delivery routes during those winter months, and we take them off during the better months. So that's a little bit about our library and the things that we have going on.
We have a few questions here.
Yeah.
Is your library right in town? Is it near schools or parks?
That's a great question. We are 1 block off of downtown, which makes it a good location because a lot of people come through. It makes it a terrible location for the thought of like expanding or growing our library because we're very landlocked by other owners. We have a very nice park that's about 2 to 3 blocks away. And the city parks department has been very easy to work with, so that can be a resource for us at times. We have 2 private schools, or parochial schools, I should say, that are within walking distance of just like 2 or 3 blocks away. All of our public schools are a little bit farther away than that right now, and can't really, school classes could not come to the library unless they had transportation.
Okay, and Anne, you had a question. You said, can you say the name of that again? Christy, there must have been a really cool program you were talking about. I'm not exactly sure what
was it the headset, maybe? The headset.
Oh, the
yeah.
headset, the headset, yes.
The headset, I bought it on Amazon. And if you just look for an FM transmitter headset, there's a lot of options there. And I mean, it was like 12 or 14 bucks. It was almost nothing. And we picked up quite a few of them at the same time, because we have a number of branches. And yeah, it was like almost the best money I've ever spent at the library. And like people, you know, it sounds silly, but the library board, they were like, wow, so impressive. And I'm like, it's like $12, but they don't have to know, you know.
No. And could you give us a few more examples of some of those outreach visits that you do, since you do like your goal is 100 per year?
Yeah, we get, we do anything. Basically, we'll do anything once, always. And then we learn a little bit, but you know, the easy stuff is daycares, back to school nights, especially for youth services folks. You know, those are a little bit easier to find. We do, I have a couple staff members that really just personally for them, they love working with nursing homes. It touches them very closely. So we are frequently out in nursing homes doing different types of programs. And we will do, you know, some of our villages and our main library, you know, have groups in town, kind of like these downtown revival groups or community planning groups that plan activities. So we do summer festivals, we do holiday gatherings. We are outside a lot. We do a ton of parades. And for us, parades are a little bit easier because we do have our delivery van. You know, so it kind of gives us a built-in float, but we always do decorate the delivery van too. And we have done a lot of book giveaways, especially for children. We give away about 3,500 to 4,000 books a year, usually paperback books. Our friends of the library tend to fund that, although we have done it so much and built up that so much that usually we get patron donations every year to help us continue it. And we walk parade routes and we hand out books. There is one street in our main city here, it's 2 blocks long. On Halloween, there's 1,200 kids that show up. So we set up a table and we hand out books at Halloween along with candy, but with books too. So those book giveaways out in the community are a lot, but we do tree lightings. We will go anywhere. We have just north of town is a College of Menominee Nation campus, and we've done some programming with them. They tend to do some open houses for students that are leaving high school, so we get involved with that as well.
That's amazing. Somebody said that, and I think we all agree. Okay, there was one more question about your headset. How does the headset work with the FM radio station? You might have already answered that.
Sure. It is so easy that like the first time I couldn't get it to work because I was way overthinking it. What you do is is you find a radio station in your area that's just static, that there's not a radio station running over it. So that is going to be probably in your the channels that are 80 or the low 90s, 90.1, 90.2. And then that headset has a dial on it, and you just set that radio station on the headset. And then when your patrons arrive, you tell them that radio station to tune their radio to. And you start talking, and they hear you in their cars. The one thing to look for with the headsets is the distance that the headset reception will work. So ours goes about 90 to 100 feet, which at our main library kind of covers our parking lot. So that's enough for us. If you need a more robust or something that covers a greater area, I would assume it would probably be more expensive. And the first day we got it, when I was so happy, I was so floored that it worked as well as it did. And that day for lunch, all the staff, when they left, I was singing them out of the parking lot with Bon Jovi, and then all the headsets disappeared from my office. So I think they were done with that.
That was very interesting. Somebody said, love the book giveaway extravaganza, maybe the $20 version. And lots of positive comments. So ladies, you did a great job showing us your libraries. Can anybody think of any other questions you have for them? Either one of our presenters today. Well, thank you so much. It was awesome. And with that, we'll let everybody go. But thank you for tuning in. And it was really great to see all of you that could make it today. If anybody would like to do this, please let me know. I'm Florence LeBeau at the Bloomer Public Library. Thanks, ladies. It was great.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you.